して鼓動がスピード上げてた夢の中で目覚めても
What up, YouTube? This is Team Dreadnought here, bringing you another Cardfight Vanguard deck profile. Today we're going to bring you the
Ramiel Reverse.
Yeah. Well, with BT13 here, you have the new Angel Feather units out, so we're going to do the Ramiel Reverse build. Start with your starter, First Aid Celestial Peniel, Forerunner. Ability is Counterblast 1, put this into your soul to call any Celestial unit from your damage zone to rearguard, and then put the top card of your deck into damage zone face down. So it's nice for a little bit of combos, getting certain units you might need.
Basically, counterblast.
You basically use it to get Nariel. So yeah. Then you have 4 Recovery Celestial Ramiel, the heal trigger, on 4.
Is your name Ramiel?
Ramiel.
Oh, Ramiel.
In the Japanese it was actually Ramiel and Ramiel. For some reason they put a U in the Japanese version, or the English version. Then we have 4 Hotshot Celestial Semyaza.
You do hot shot, alright.
Play 4. Then a little unorthodox, I'm letting people do. I play 4 Encourage Celestial Tamiels, the stand trigger for Celestials. It's good. It's good with Ramiel Reverse just because
You have to lock Celestials.
it's not only that. It's just because also your whole front row gains power whenever you use Ramiel Reverse's ability. So stands actually help out a whole lot because it allows.
They're spinning.
Because it allows, you know, your power-ups to be a little more relevant. And then finishing off the triggers for Celestial Landing Pegasus, the draw
I
trigger.
cannot drive.
Never can. Starting on grade 1s, you have Adamantium Celestial Aniel, the Perfect Shield, run 4. No reason to not turn 4.
Friendly PSA.
4 Nursing Celestial Nariels. This is one of the new cards from BT13. It's a grade 1, 7,000. Its effect is that when it's put on rearguard, you can choose. When it's put on rearguard, you can pay the cost, which is to choose 1 card in your hand with Celestial in its name and put it into your damage zone. To take any card from your damage zone and put it into your hand, so long as you have an Angel Feather Vanguard. So basically, it's like no sale, but it's a grade 1, and B, it's a little bit more restrictive in that you have to put a Celestial from your hand into the damage, but you can still grab anything, even if it's face down. So these are really good. It allows you to help put Ramiel Reverses from your hand into the damage so you can use their effects, and also setting up plays with Daniel. 4 Marking Celestial Arabaki, the 10k attacker. And then 1 Battle Cupid Nusael. Grade 1, 6,000. Effect is when it's put into the Guardian Circle. You can choose 1 card, you pay the cost, which is to choose 1 card from your hand and put it into the damage zone. Or 1 Angel Feather card in your hand, put it in your damage zone. To grab any card from your damage zone, put it in your hand, whether it's face up or face down. Now the card you get with this, you cannot use to guard with, even though you can in the Japanese meta. The English meta, you can't. So hopefully they bring that rule over here. That'd be pretty nice. You might want to run 2 of these at that point. But overall, it's still a good card. It can help put, again, Ramiel Reverses in damage. Or get Ramiel Reverses if you want to break ride, if there's multiple in there. And again, it also sets up Danielle. So it's just a good card overall. Now we have 4 Wild Shot Celestial Reglio, the 12k attacker for Celestials. Another new card, Emergency Celestial Danielle. This card's the goodness. It's a grade 2, 9k. Its effect is when it's in the damage zone, you can counterblast 1 with Celestial, or E-Special 1 Celestial.
Counterblast 1 Celestial.
To call this from the damage zone to any rearguard spot, and then put the top card of your deck into your damage zone. What's good about this is because
It can only be activated when you have a card.
yeah, it can only be activated when a card enters your damage zone. So this is like your first damage, you feel godly, unless your second one's a heal trigger. It's very relevant in this deck because of Nariel. You can basically set up combinations with Nariel and the starter to put one of these in damage, Nariel, get something back, and then call this. And just so people know about the thing, or the rulings of it, you cannot counterblast itself for its effect. And if it's face down, it also cannot be used. The only way it can be used face down is if you have two of them.
Goes also the sleeves.
You have two of them at the same time. So if you have two here, you call. You can activate both. Counterblast one, call. Top card of your deck. And then with this one, even though it's face down, it was still activated. Counterblast another Celestial, call. And then the top card will once again go under damage.
It's a lot of Raggles. You need to shuffle your deck better.
But yeah, it's a good, strong card. It's finally a unit that can give some type of pluses to Angel Feathers, because usually, for all their damage swapping and everything, it's not a plus. You're just switching out a card for a card. It's hidden pluses in the sense of where you can increase your shield values, get certain cards you might need for cards that are dead in your hand. But in the end, they have nothing that actually gives you a card plus other than... Actually, no, not even Break Riding Ramiel is, because you're replacing the Ramiel in your hand that you rode.
And you're just taking the top card of your deck and putting it in.
Yeah, so it's finally a way to get a plus without having to use a card from our hand. It's just good and solid. 2 Candle Celestial Sariels. A lot of people play 4 just because you do want Ramiel reverse in your damage zone as quick as possible. I usually don't have that problem because I usually draw a lot of 3s, so it's why I've had all the Nariels and everything. And also because you only really need 2.
Once you use your shield.
Because once you find one, you don't want to have these all the time, and also because of Ramiel, it makes it a 13 when you do that, and because of that, it's
We'd have
really
to limit break, not just do that.
it's really hard to hit rear guards with this thing, even with Ramiel reverses limit break, because it's only a 13. They can just 5k shield all their rear guards if they're like grade 2s that you want to get rid of, and I don't want to run into that problem a lot when I'm playing the deck. Her effect is still relevant. Maybe 3. I think 4 is too much though. 4 is way too many. And then I also have 2 Essence Celestial Becca, the 10k vanilla, just because of that reason. Because with the +5, she can hit grade 2s, and even 10k vanillas that are grade 2, and it forces a 10 shield out of your opponent's hand, which is what you want. And then, of course, obviously, this is the best thing ever to ride turn 2, grade 2.
Yeah.
Because everything's a 9k, so it really makes them have to work harder or to have 12k attackers. Going on to grade 3s, we have Prophecy Celestial Ramiel, the Break Ride. Grade 3, 11,000. Effect is when another unit break rides over this, it gets plus 10,000 power, and then you can choose one card in your damage zone, add it to your hand, and then put the top card of your deck and put it into the damage zone face up. So basically, you basically get to replace whatever you broke road with a card in your damage, and then put the top card. Again, another card that can fuel Danielle shenanigans. It's good and strong overall, and of course, whenever it attacks the Vanguard, it gets +2 to the end of that battle.
The Vigoo.
Because everything has to hit cross rise, so.
Because you don't have the Kawaii dolls.
Yeah. It's sweet.
Kawaii dolls OP.
And now the second, or not the second, or technically the second in terms of set numbers, the second cross break ride in the game, even though there are 3 others right now. And that is Cleanup Celestial Ramiel Reverse.
Miribas?
The longest text box in the game.
Had to shorten it.
No, it's still the same, that's why it's 12 lines. It's the longest text box in the game. It goes over, right, where is it? Yeah, above her knee right here. In the Japanese, it shows the top of her knee. It's bigger. It's ridiculous. It's a cross ride of this, obviously. So if this is in your soul, it gains +2 all the time. So it's a 13 on defense, 13 on offense. But its effect is Limit Break 4. Choose 2 units. Choose 2 of your rear guards with Celestial in their name and lock them. Now when you do that, it has 2 different effects that activate. One of them, or the one that always activates, is choose up to 3 of your Angel Feather.
Up to 2. Or up to 3 in your front row?
Or is it just 3?
Every unit in the front row or something?
No, it is Celestial. I was right. Choose up to 3 units in your front row with Celestial in their name, and they get plus 5,000 to the end of that turn.
So your whole front row gets 5,000.
Right. So your whole front row gets plus 5,000. And then also what activates is, when you do this, you don't have a choice to do this or not, by the way. So keep that in mind when you want to use this effect. You have no choice to do this if the conditions are met. If you have a copy of her in your damage zone face up, when you lock 2, you now get to choose one card in your opponent's damage zone, face up or face down, send that to the drop zone, and then your opponent chooses one of their rear guards and puts it into the damage zone.
So if your opponent's counterblasted out and you're forced to do it,
Right.
you get
If they're counterblasted out, you are unflipping a counterblast for them. But if you want to, this is not a once per turn ability. You can use it twice per turn, which is the max you can do because Angel Feather didn't get a damage unflipper or unlocker in the unlock campaign.
Yeah.
So you can do this twice per turn, which basically means if you're cross ride, you'll have one rear guard with plus 10,000 and a vanguard at 23, which is pretty strong, and you retire 2 units. It's very grindy. This is more of a defensive deck and how it's built, constructed, and how you want to play it.
Which is why this is a nice cross.
Yep. Yeah, and then being a cross ride even helps out even more because it is that little more on defense. Couple notes about her effects. If your opponent, for whatever reason, you can limit break and they have no cards in damage. If they have no cards in your damage zone and you can limit break this, you don't limit break. Because if they have, I'm sorry, I'm being wrong about this. If they have no rear guards, do not use her ability if she has a copy of her, because you will do the effect to the best of your abilities.
You heal them.
So if they have no rear guards and you activate her limit break, you will essentially heal. You will heal your opponent to give your whole front row plus 5. That's not worth it, because like I said, as long as you have a copy of her face up in your damage, you have to kill something. You have to put one of their damage into the drop. It's not a you may or anything. If the conditions are met, it activates. But other than that, she's actually one of the better reverse units. It's just she's not played very much because
Leopold reverse is a thing.
Because of Link Joker.
And that is Angel Feather. Nobody really plays Angel Feather.
Yeah,
like real talk.
I know. People were playing it some of the team leagues. But probably my favorite deck in the game right now. It's real grindy. It's defensive. You don't want to aggro this deck. Basically, with the stands, you lock 2 every turn to retire a unit. If you think about it like this, for no counterblast or anything, you can lock 2 to retire a unit, and then give your whole front row plus 5. That's not a bad ability at all, and because of the stands, you are giving a little bit more benefit to one of your rear guards. Like if it's a Reguio, the 12k attacker, you basically have a 17 attack to a rear guard, and if you hit a stand, it's a 22. Then you can hit 2 vanguards. That's a 15 to pass, obviously, against 11k vanguards. And then when you're out of stands, obviously you lock 4 a turn to retire 2, and then you have a 23 vanguard and then a rear guard with plus 1,000 or plus 10,000. So any triggers you can put onto them with 9Ks, everything, like it's still going to be a 23 because of if you get a trigger. So that's again 15 pass to vanguards, even if they're cross ridden. So.
Also, most decks can't handle being -2 every single turn.
Yeah, the reason why she's powerful is because you are basically retiring 2 a turn. You're limiting your attacks, but because your Vanguard's still attacking, you are getting a twin drive. You're basically getting rid of cards on their field that they might want, rather than... It's definitely a mind game on how you want to do it, because you have to think about shield value differentials in terms of what they would guard if you didn't have the thing, if you had your booster still, compared to a unit they would kill. Like if they put grade 3s, they're usually going to benefit from it, because the grade 3 they can't intercept to get rid of it, and most people never really attack grade 3s unless they just don't want to give their opponent another damage.
Well, when you're actually playing a cross ride, it's worse to get rid of the grade 3s because, again, you have to hit it.
It can set up a bit of a mind game with your opponent, because whatever you retire might be less shield value than what you give up, which is why you don't always want to, even though it can be used twice per turn, you don't always want to do it twice per turn, because you want to have 3 abilities to attack. You really want to lock 4 a turn to retire 2 when your opponent's running low on cards in hand, because now they have to fight whether they want to call more units next turn or keep them for shields. Because this deck has the ability to keep a good amount of hand because of Ramiel, because of Danielle, the way you can set up your shield values because
Of cross ride.
yeah, the way you can filter your hand to have your good shields, your perfect shields, being a cross ride, it makes hitting her a lot harder for your opponent. And because of the way it locks and giving everything +5, you really don't care about having specific cards that you want. I've had many times where behind my Vanguard I've had another grade 3. And behind another rear guard a grade 3. Because it doesn't matter, you're just doing it to lock them. And if they kill your rear guard, whatever, you move the 3 up.
Yeah.
And now you have a 16k attacker.
16 to 21k attacker.
Yeah. So all the cards are very relevant. And that's really the deck. I mean, play it if you want. It's pretty cheap right now, thankfully. Or, except Ramiel's.
Your arms are still pretty steep.
Ramiel's are pretty cheap right now. Or not pretty steep, you know? Like, what, 15 for the break rate?
Yeah.
Other than that, everything's like under 10.
Yeah, and it was like 8.
Ramiel reverse like 5 right now.
Alright, well, I think we should drop this deck and follow up.
Yeah. And for those who wanted to see what it looks like,
This SP?
yeah, SP Ramiel.
Ooh, fuzzy.
Thankfully, this set they gave all the SPs their own different effects.
Oh, thank you, Spencer. We're running close to like 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Remember to like, comment, subscribe for more videos, deck files, matches with this deck. Comment what you want.